Welcome to the Survivor Cagayan Unofficial Aftershow, aka Survivor Brawn versus Brains versus Beauty. Let's get down to business. First thing we're going to talk about is the twist. So, we all knew this was going to happen one day, but we didn't expect Beauty. But it's the three aspects in life and in Survivor that people look at, that you're classified under. And I've always thought it was interesting how they did that. Here's what people thought was going to happen. Everyone thought that there would only be what their tribe is. They thought they'd only be Brawn, they only thought they would be Brain, they would only think they would be Beauty, but no, that's not Survivor. People aren't genuinely one thing. I mean, most of the contestants, they can branch out to other sides. My favorites in the game so far. Also, Spencer, I have no idea what Jeff Probst is talking about. I don't know why he thinks he has no shot. Just because he's young doesn't mean he will be ineffective. Because he's young like me, and he has a similar strategy to how I would play the game. 2. Woo. Heh. Rhyme. Anyway, he seems like, from the TV guide, preview of Cagayan, he seemed like a Asian Malcolm. And he seems like a cool dude. I honestly think that he can make it far. Last person I'm rooting for, Cliff. He's just a cool dude. I mean, I don't know him from the NBA stuff because I don't watch sports, but I really think he's a cool dude, and yeah. I couldn't help notice that Tony looks like a Bronx version of Vin Diesel, and usually in these after shows, anytime I say Vin Diesel, I'm referring to Tony. First thing off the bat, they have to choose leaders. For the Beauties, LJ was the leader. For the Bronze, Sarah. And for the Brains, they chose David. The leaders had to choose the weakest member of the team, which could put a target on their back, or put a target on the person they chose. So there was a lot of layers to this. Morgan, Trish, and Garrett were chosen as the weaklings. Though, for the Brains, you didn't choose Cass. I mean, she's like a blank rubber stamp. No impression. Here's the thing, when they got to camp, the weaklings had a choice between rice or a clue to the hidden immunity idol. Now, strategic-wise, I would probably have to go with the rice because Jeff Probst said there's going to be a choice they have to make. Because he announced it, I would have to choose the rice so I don't look suspicious. But the way that Morgan handled it and just fibbed, that was actually clever. So, props to her, even though she's the only one that had a clue that didn't find the idol. And then her team started coming back, I was like, oh crap. Because I was like, oh my god, this is like worst thing possible. But then she saved herself. Not all is, I mean, they're still cautious, but she saved her ass. Now, props to Garrett for finding the idol. On day 1, too, not many people have done that. Props to him. Garrett honestly seems like an interesting player, and I think he would have, gone far in the game, too. Now, Trish is the only weakling that chose the rice over the idol. Probably I would have made the same decision because of targets, and it makes me look good with the tribe. But then again, I could have lied and deceived, so if I played the game, I wouldn't have played it well at that point. One of the things when I saw the sneak preview, I was wondering how Cliff would affect the tribe. Mostly because he was an ex-NBA player, and from we see celebrities, they don't really get far in the game, or deep in the game. But he really hit it off well, and like I said, he's one of my favorites, and honestly, I don't think they would eliminate him if they went to Tribal. One, because it's stupid to get one of your strongest competitors. You don't think there's going to be like some weightlifting challenge or something? Dude, keep him around till we get to like 13 people, then boot his ass out if he's still around. I hate to say it about Clifford, but you have to do it. Be cutthroat if you want to win this game. Tony, he seemed like he was overthinking the cop thing. Like, always tell the truth of your occupation unless you're like an actor or a lawyer or a psychologist. I mean, cop, so what? I mean, if there was a cop on my tribe, if I played the game, I'd be like, oh, cool. And I'm a, well, I wouldn't say actor because that will put a target on my back. Like, oh, I'm learning to get my economics degree or something like that. Because I don't want to seem like a threat. I feel Tony should have just flat out said, because that builds a trust. Jatia has no idea what she's doing. You could be very smart, and theoretically you could pretty much dominate the competition in theory. But just because you can think it out, just because you can work it out in theory, doesn't mean it will work out in real life. And doesn't mean you can handle it in real life. And Jatia doesn't seem to be handling this game well. That's why they have, like, no shelter, or what shelter they have, it's pretty crappy. And that's why they lost the first challenge. So, Beauties won first, Braun won second, and Brains goes Tribal. Now, off the bat, I would have gone with Jatia. One, she's not very useful in challenges, she's bossy, and she costs us the game. I mean, that's who I'd vote for, and that would be a smart move. Now, I know they had concerns about David, but come on, dude. Get rid of the anchor first before you take out a threat. God, it's like the so-called brain tribe. I'm just gonna say the non-athletic, beautiful tribe from now on, because it's not really smart over there with the decisions made by the tribe. Well, as a majority. So Tribal comes, and I wasn't entirely shocked that David went home. I just feel like it was a stupid choice. David, I really thought that your strategy was a bit overthinking, which could be dangerous in this game. And if you're going to vote someone off first in front of everybody, you have to make it look like it's a hard decision. So that way, you don't put a target on your back. And you don't go for an obvious threat. You never go for the obvious threat, obviously. Because that's the stuff that gets you sent home before the merge. Thank you for watching, and be sure to watch part 2 of the Survivor Cagayan Bronze versus Beauties versus Brains.